I grew up in a non-Christian family, but I remember, I think maybe God tried to reach out to me. I think it's around in my high school years. School colleagues kind of thing, like coming in and say, oh, we have this church going on, or like kind of like inviting and talk about, you can talk to God and pray to God, But I guess I've never really explored further, being in a country that main religion is not Christianity. It's kind of a little bit strange, to actually like go forward where people around you is actually not. Coming into Australia, it's like, oh, now I get to learn, more English, for example. And I got a friend, that I live in Western Australia. At the time, we're talking sort of online, and they kind of like say, hey, what about, find somewhere like local church to go to. You came up in my mind, and I think we come across to each other many times. But one day she was, doing lollipopping, right? Yeah, I just thought, oh, I'll come and say hello and just chat.
I don't know what we could have said. Oh, I'm kind of wanting to talk to someone who's a Christian and maybe come along to church.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, come along to church on Sunday. And there'd been some sermon or something. We're talking about reading the Bible with someone who doesn't yet know Jesus. And I felt really nervous. I was thinking, oh, I really should ask Nancy. I should do this. I know it's the right thing, but I felt a bit scared. And but I asked you, and you just said, yes, I'd love to. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's come up with a time. And you didn't feel weird when I asked you?
No, not at all. Yeah. It's a blessing that, it's sort of like, oh, God giving me this in order for me to learn, like, sensing you into my life to actually, like, we can learn together.
I think for me, it was just like, okay, well, let's just read the gospel. Let's start at the start.
I'll show how small the book is.
Yeah, so we started with the Gospel of Mark.
Yeah.
We got to know each other a bit more, and Nancy was going through, really challenging, hard times in her life, and so the Bible even spoke into those things.
We get to do life, in the good and the bad.
Yeah.
So that bit is really, comforting, and, read the Bible and get to know Jesus in terms of like how does he do life, and I'm like getting closer to like, how can I walk through life, even in a tough time or in a good time. I know that I'm very still new in this journey, and probably like a lot that I, still don't know. So I guess I'm still using, the Bible study, the weekly study as the path for me to get to know more and more. I can actually follow through, can see the scenery, what's happening, who was in the scene, what is happening. It's actually become like a movie playing in my head. It's like walking with Jesus, right? Like that's what it is with me, I guess. And that's really important for some new people that doesn't know anything at all. Like, sometimes they need that basic ground to walk with. And I feel like she just provide that patience and the comfort that, to nurture like someone who totally new for me. Yeah.
There is something beautiful about reading the Bible with someone who's never read it before. Just seeing Nancy's responses was, wow, yes, Jesus is amazing. He actually has this impact on this person, and they're amazed at him. And so for me, that was an absolute joy, just to be able to experience that with someone. So I wouldn't swap that for anything, because, incredible experience. Just a privilege to think that God has used me in someone else's life. I don't know, it's like, how special is that? It's God. I'm part of God's story. It's my it's my story in your story, in God's story, and that's just really cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.